investigation that I see that was done, Mr. Zeppelin made some statements, you got an arrest warrant, and you arrested him. Is that pretty accurate?
That's correct.
This is my 20 years of practicing law. I'll take the worst investigation I have ever seen. You didn't talk to Mr. McComb on June 12th, did you?
I did not.
Did you ever go to his residence?
I did not.
You never checked his residence? You never got a search warrant to see if generators were on?
June 12th to June 13th of last year, 2025, 2 generators were taken from Mr. Ben Zeppelin. The basis of all this started before then. Mr. Zeppelin owned some property and he had hired Brandon McComb to do some work on his house. Mr. Zeppelin had given Mr. McComb the check. He came in dispute with all that. Mr. Zeppelin put a stop payment on the check. Mr. McComb texted Mr. Zeppelin and said, until I get my money, it's going to be a scavenger hunt for you. And Mr. Zeppelin took that with the generators end up being gone, believed that Mr. McComb had taken those generators. And it wasn't until earlier this year that Mr. Zeppelin actually found one of those generators, a bigger one that was on his property that had been covered up in leaves and limbs and stuff. So it was a scavenger hunt. So we believe that's sufficient evidence that you can go back and you can find Mr. McComb guilty of theft.
Everything that guy just said is bullshit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and as I'm sure you can imagine, we have a very different version of events that happened. Mr. McComb had been hired to do various tasks at Mr. Zeppelin's property. Mr. Zeppelin wrote a check to Mr. McComb that encompassed completing 2 of the 3 jobs. Mr. McComb continued to work on the property. Thursday, which was the date that the job was supposed to be completed, he gets to the property, he begins doing work, and his bank calls him and says, hey, did you know there was a stop payment put on that check that you deposited last week? Mr. McComb says, no. He said, yes, the individual who wrote the check put a stop payment on it. Mr. McComb says, let me figure it out, call him back. He continues to stay at the residence and work. He calls Mr. Zeppelin. He texts Mr. Zeppelin. Mr. Zeppelin doesn't respond. Mr. McComb continues to work at the residence. Finally, Mr. Zeppelin calls back, immediately says, you'll get your money. You'll get your money. Mr. McComb said, no, I'm done. We've had issues before. I'm done. I'm packing my things. 151 pounds is the same as Mr. McComb does. But the notion that he carries a 151 pound generator up and down hills through scrub oak to a gully and hides it in the amount of time that he would have had to take it would be impossible. He simply couldn't do it. What you're going to hear is that immediately upon confronting the police officers, Mr. Zeppelin lied. He went to the police and he inflated the value of the generators in the hopes of getting Mr. McComb charged with a more serious crime. He tells the police that, hey, one of the generators was $3,000. One of the generators was $1,700. Well, when my investigator talked to Harbor Freight said, you could probably buy this whole store for $5,000. Generators were $1,000 and $700. Mr. Zeppelin knew that because he had purchased another generator on June 17th prior to talking to law enforcement, and he had paid $749 for it. He has the receipt. We have the receipt. You will hear evidence. This is Mr. Zeppelin's MO. This is what he does. This is how he avoids paying me. 2 weeks of work, nothing to show for it, and then he gets charged with a crime. One of the most upsetting things to me in this case is the absolute, utter failure of investigation done by the Fremont County Sheriff's Department. And you will see that. This is, in my 20 years of practicing law, I would say the worst investigation I have ever seen. Mr. McComb never even had an opportunity to talk to law enforcement about the stolen generators.
Mr. Tommy, you may call your first witness.
Call Richard Priest.
All right. All right, you've been called to testify. Come on up here, please.
Would you state your name for the court, please?
Deputy Richard Priest.
And how are you employed?
I'm currently a patrol deputy with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
Certified peace officer?
Yes, sir.
How long?
I've been certified for 2 years. He came into the lobby of the Fremont County Sheriff's Office to report what was initially a cold trespass on his property in Cotopaxi.
What do you mean by cold trespass?
It had already occurred. A gentleman he had doing some work for him by the name of Brandon Mcombe.
He wanted the gentleman trespassed, and were you able to get a hold of Mr. McComb?
It took some trying of contacting him, but eventually I was able to get a hold of him. Yes. I had initially left a voicemail for him, and when he had actually called the next day to talk to me, and he had told me he received my voicemail and informed me that he would no longer go to Mr. Zeppelin's property.
So with that conversation with Mr. Zeppelin, what information did you get?
Mr. Zeppelin informed me that when he had returned home, he observed two of his generators were stolen. Mr. Zeppelin had told me that he had attempted to contact Mr. McCombs about it, and there was some texting back and forth where Mr. McCombs had told him there would be a scavenger hunt for his property until he was paid.
And were you able to contact him about that particular information?
I was, but the conversation didn't go very far.
Did you ask Mr. McCombs anything?
I did. I, first of all, want to get Mr. McCombs' information. Mr. McCombs refused to provide that information to me. And I informed him that the reason why I was asking that information was because there was an allegation he had stolen two generators from the property. And at that point, Mr. McCombs said he wouldn't talk to me without an attorney present and hung up the phone, and I was never able to make contact with him again.
Did Mr. McCombs tell you anything about the contract between him and Mr. Zeppelin?
He told me that he believed he was stolen from by Mr. Zeppelin, but he didn't go into further detail.
You never met Mr. McCombs personally?
I did not.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Priest. Pass the witness.
Cross-examination for the witness.
So Deputy, your testimony is that you contacted Mr. McComb the day after.
Yes, sir.
Would it surprise you to know that on Thursday, June 12th, Mr. McComb reached out to you 3 times at 5:13, 4:30, and 5:12? Does that sound familiar?
That does not sound familiar to me, no.
Okay. Judge, if I could approach.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
You may.
Cell phone. Is that number that 719-276-5555?
That's the base number for the sheriff's office, yes.
And that is what you just looked at. That was on June 12th, correct?
That is the date that I see, yes.
You showed that recalls made from that phone, correct?
Correct.
So, Deputy, you didn't talk to Mr. McComb on June 12th, did you?
I did not.
Did you ever go to his residence?
I did not.
You never checked his residence? You never got a search warrant to see if generators were on the residence?
No.
And were you ever told whether or not the generators actually worked? The status of the generators?
No, Mr. Zeppelin did not tell me that.
But you were told the value of the generators, isn't that right?
Yes.
You were told the value of the generators. One was about $3,500 and the other one was $1,500. Does that sound correct?
That's correct.
Really easy problem to solve. The generators were Harbor Freight generators, right?
Correct.
And it would have been very easy to contact Harbor Freight and say, hey, how much is this generator worth, right?
Yes.
Did you do that?
I did not.
Now, you talked to Mr. Zeppelin numerous times, right? You talked to him on the 12th, the 13th, and then again on the 23rd of June. Is that right?
That's correct. I believe the 23rd was actually the 21st, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so in the 21st, okay. Did Mr. Zeppelin tell you that on the 17th, he went and bought a new generator for $700?
He did not.
The information that you learned from him, though, was that the generators were $3,500 and $1,500, right?
That's correct.
He never then followed up and said, actually, one of the generators turns out it was $700.
He did not provide that information to me, no.
And again, through all their contact with him, even up to the 21st, that holds true, right?
Correct.
For the purposes of charging, that number makes a difference, right?
Yes, it does.
You've already testified that you didn't go out to Mr. Zeppelin's property to look for the generators. Was your partner able to go around the property to look for the generators?
My partner did. I don't recall if he actually located the generators there or not.
Did he write a report?
I don't know.
You ever seen a report from him in this case?
I did not.
The investigation that I see that was done was Mr. Zeppelin made some statements. You got an arrest warrant and you arrested him. Is that pretty accurate?
That's correct.
There's no independent follow-up with Harbor Freight, no independent follow-up trying to locate the generators, no independent follow-up executing a search warrant on Mr. McComb's residence. None of those things happened, right?
Correct.
How big is a Harbor Freight 8750 generator?
I honestly have no idea.
So you wouldn't know if it was as big as this computer or 151 pounds, would you?
I would not.
You indicated that Mr. Zeppelin had told you that he wanted to report a cold trespass that happened earlier that day, right?
On the 12th, yes.
But it really wasn't a trespass, right? Because what you subsequently learned was that Mr. McComb was at the property at Mr. Zeppelin's invitation doing work for him, right?
Correct.
And therefore, it wasn't a trespass. He was an invitee, right?
Yes.
You concede, though, that if the work was being done inside the residence and Mr. Zeppelin wasn't there, Mr. McComb would have unfettered access to the entire house, right?
Correct.
And Mr. Zeppelin never complained about anything else being taken, did he?
He did not, no.
No other personal property was alleged to have been stolen, nothing like that, right?
No.
It was just a total of 251 pounds of generators, right? And what I mean by that is the 2 Harbor Freight generators.
That's correct, yes.
I have no further questions from this witness.
And Mr. Tommy.
Ben Zeppelin. All right, Mr. Zeppelin, would you state your name for the court, please?
Ben Zeppelin.
And do you live here in Fremont County?
I do.
One of the contractors you worked with is that Brandon McCombs.
That's correct.
And do you see Mr. McCombs here in the courtroom today?
I do.
Could you tell the court and the jury where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
Over him to my left, he's wearing dark shirt, dark hair.
May the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
It shall so reflect.
So I want to go back to last year on June 12th. You had hired Mr. McCombs to do some work for you.
I hired him to do some painting work, just kind of odds and ends. We agreed that on a price, $1,000 for that work. And it was just a lot of ticky-tacky stuff. And we agreed that I would pay him when he was finished. I wrote him a check actually for $1,500. I gave him a $500 tip, really in the hopes that it would motivate him to do a good job with the tile work and do it in a timely manner. After I went outside and gave him this check, I went back inside to kind of get my things together to leave for the day, and just decided, even though we had agreed that I would pay him after everything was done, I'm going to go ahead and give him this check for the work prior in the hopes that he would be grateful and just do a really good job and get it done.
You paid him basically $3,100 that day.
Right. In two different checks.
Two different checks.
Right. That evening, Sunday evening, I called my bank and canceled the check for $1,600. I did not inform him that I had canceled the check. The agreement was that I would pay him at the end. I didn't want to make a big deal about that initially because my main concern at that point was just getting this mess that had been made with the tile being cut wrong and put up, getting that fixed.
Did he ever contact you about the stop payment?
Yes. Early afternoon, I got some text and a voicemail. Call me right away. He was very upset. I called him. He said he had found out that I had put a stop payment. He was extremely upset. He told me he was going to get his stuff, pull down everything he had done, and leave the property. And then I got a final text where he said, until I get my payment, it's going to be a scavenger hunt for you. I didn't know really what he meant by that, but I was concerned enough given the whole tone of the text, and that I actually came to the sheriff's department and wanted them to contact him and ask him not to come back to my property. Those generators were gone. There were a number of other things missing. I kind of at that point put two and two together and realized what he meant by scavenger hunt. Maybe he had just hidden the stuff somewhere. So I spent, it was at this point beginning to get dark. I had about 45 minutes of light left. I went all around the property trying to maybe see if I could find something. Didn't find anything.
You didn't find anything that day?
No. It was like a 3,500 super quiet generator, kind of an expensive generator. And then I also had a 8,500, which was a bigger generator to run heavier duty equipment.
You said it was worth about $3,500.
Both the generators were relatively new. They were only several months old, but I don't recall the price exactly.
And I think you told me the other one was a 5,600 watt generator worth about $1,500.
I realized after the fact that I had gotten the wattage not right, called back and corrected that.
How many acres do you have?
About 4. I mean, there's forest beyond, so it's not demarked with a lot of trees and gullies. And I mean, given the fact that the big generator was pretty significantly hidden, it wouldn't surprise me if the smaller one, if it is there, that it could very well be pulled much further away and hidden much more significantly.
Thank you, Mr. Zeppelin. Pass the witness.
Cross-examination for this witness.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Zeppelin, I want to talk to you first about the trust.
Okay.
Case has been going on 3 days shy of a year. I've had the opportunity to go through all the police reports. Today is the first day that there's ever been mention of a second check. Now, I want to make sure that we're clear here. Did you put a stop payment on the $1,500 check?
No, I did not.
Okay, Judge, could I approach? Mr. Zeppelin, I want you to look midway down that page, and you'll see a $1,500 minus $1,500. And under that, it says reverse stop payment Zeppelin. You see that?
I do.
And that was for $1,500, correct?
That's correct.
Clearly, stop payment was put on that $1,500 check. Would you agree?
Yes, but to be
On June 12th, right? June 12th.
be clear, I wrote him 2 checks
We're gonna
in
get-
the same day.
And we're going to get there. You did put a stop payment on the $1,500 check. Would you agree?
That I put a stop payment. I put a stop payment on what part of the confusion I think here, sir, is that when I wrote him 2 checks, I believe I said I put a stop payment on the $1,600 check. And I think part of the confusion is that I said $1,600 when actually it was $1,500. The second, both checks were for $1,500.
Now the testimony is both checks were for $1,500.
I don't recall. I don't have my bank statement.
Why?
I contacted my bank yesterday. They told me that there was I verified that I had written a check to Mr. McComb and that it was deposited and received for $1,500.
Sir, I verified that. I have the check right here. We're going to go over that in just a second.
Okay.
So, Judge, if I can approach,
And what's this marked?
this is marked as People's or Defendants Exhibit A.
You may.
There's this check that you wrote, Mr. McComb, on June 7th for a total amount of $1,500.
Right. But as I said, I wrote him 2 checks.
Yeah.
I do not know if this is the first check or the second check.
Well, sir, up until 15 seconds ago, your testimony is that one of the checks was for $1,500 and one of the checks was for $1,600. And you've testified consistently throughout this trial that that happened. Let me ask you this.
Right.
Prior to today's date, what law enforcement agent, what deputy district attorney, who did you tell that you wrote a check for $1,600 to?
They did not want a lot of information on the amounts. That's a civil matter. I was concerned about Mr. McComb trespassing on my property and taking my property without my permission. I did not, no deputies, no district attorney, no one from the courts has been very particularly interested in the financial aspect of this.
We'll move on and we'll get back into that with the deputy. Now, sir, you testified earlier today under direct examination that you realized that number one, you made an error as to the wattage and you made an error as to the amount of the generators, right?
The wattage, what did I say? I think I said 8,500. It was an 8,750.
And you
Yeah.
said you contacted the deputy, correct?
I don't recall. What I did is I went to Harbor Freight. I got the copies of the tags from the generators and I submitted those.
And you did that, sir, on April 28th of 26, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So my question to you now, because earlier today, you testified that you reached out to Deputy Priest to correct the amount that the generators cost, right?
I don't think I reached out to anyone about how much the generators cost. I reported when I made the theft report, there was a conversation, and this was on the phone, about the generators. I think he asked me what was the value, 3,600 that they had. I believe that was somehow that was the amount that I said was the value of all the merchandise missing.
My question to you, so you purchased a new generator.
That's
receipt
correct.
for
Right.
nearly days after. So then is your testimony here today, and I just want to make sure we're clear for what's going to come up. Your testimony is that you put the stop payment on the check. The bank didn't notify him until June 12th.
I don't know when the bank notified him. I don't know if he notified the bank. That was
You can
his
see
thing.
that he brought it to your attention on June 12th, correct?
Right.
Okay. Let's look at this receipt that you provided to the district attorney's office in April of this year. And that receipt was dated June 17th.
Right. So that,
Your days after. And
excuse me. me, sir?
Mere days after this.
Mere days? That was 5 days after. I don't have any water. That's right.
Okay.
A generator allows me to have water. It allows me
And
to
sir,
flush the toilet. It allows me to cook.
That amount was for less than half of what you told the deputy the generator was worth. Would you concede that?
I don't recall what I told the deputy the generator was worth. I know I reported where I bought the generator. I reported the type of generator it was. Basically, the prices of those generators changes all the time.
And maybe you can correct me if the deputy is wrong. He has in his report that one of the generators was an 8750 watt generator worth $3,500. Now, as you correctly noted or correctly stated, you went and you got the tag for that generator, right?
Yeah, nearly 9 months later.
Exactly. Nearly 9 months later. And how much was the generator really? It was $1,099, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the other generator, and you knew this because you purchased that generator mere 5 days after this happened.
Right. But I reported, sir, made my police report before I bought the
And you spoke to
generator.
the deputy after that as well. You spoke to the deputy on June 21st, didn't you?
I don't recall. I had multiple conversations with the deputy
If the deputy said you spoke with him via his report on June 21st, does that sound right?
about what?
And at that time, you never corrected him as to the error.
I didn't, that wasn't the emphasis of the whole thing was that I had two generators, what two generators were taking.
And earlier today, though, you said that you did reach out to the deputy to correct him as to the wattage and the value. That's what your testimony was earlier today. So now you're saying that that's not accurate and you didn't reach out to him. Is that true?
Sir, we were so involved with multiple aspects of what was taken. I was consistently discovering new things were missing from my house. I found a couple things. My conversation with the deputy following the initial report had much more to do with what was taken, whether a warrant had been issued. I don't understand. What is your question, sir?
Then I will ask it again very slowly. Your testimony today, earlier today on direct examination, was you realized you made an error as to the amount and the type of generator it was. And you said you reached back out to the deputy to correct that, both the type and the amount. Your testimony now, and this doesn't have anything to do with any.
Sir, I don't recall that.
So then just so we're clear, you did or did not reach out and clarify the amounts?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I like to work that out with my contractors, whether they want cash or check,
Okay. And that's
and when that's going to be paid.
Okay.
I do not recall, sir, apart from those two checks that I wrote, I don't recall. Actually, now that you mention it, I think I might have made a small cash advance or something, but I don't recollect very much about the interactions specifically.
okay.
Sir, he worked for me for 3 or 4 weeks. And I don't recall individual days or times or what he was doing on this day or that day. As I expressed earlier, he had it wasn't like we were painting a specific wall this color. We were doing lots of little small projects.
And let's fast forward to the next week. You say that things had deteriorated significantly the next week, right?
Well, they deteriorated after I wrote him the 2 checks, the $500 tip in one, and prepaid him in spite of the agreement that I wasn't going to pay until after, and then had all of this. No, you just asked me, sir.
You just testified that you didn't have an agreement with them.
What? That I didn't have an agreement.
You said it was very informal. We didn't have an agreement.
We had an agreement as far as price goes.
Okay.
For the task, we did not have an agreement in terms of a written contract.
Another thing, you mentioned your words were ticky-tacky. Ticky-tacky, you defined it as jobs that were started by other contractors but not finished. Now, all this tile and grout work, those were ticky-tacky things that had been started by other contractors and not finished, correct?
Yeah, those would probably be what I was referring to.
Okay. How many other contractors had worked on those ticky-tacky things?
I don't recall. I mean, some of it was work I had done.
And some of it was work other contractors. Now, have you had these types of problems with contractors in the past?
Nope. I've never, in working with literally hundreds of contractors, I've never had this issue. I mean, certainly I've had disputes where things didn't get done properly, but I've never actually had to go to court on a civil matter, certainly not in a criminal matter. I've certainly never had a contractor take my property without my permission, steal my stuff.
Let's talk about that property now and stealing. You testified that your neighbor had to bring over their forklift to get the generator out of that ditch, correct?
Is Bobcat.
Bob, it was that heavy, right?
Yes, sir.
Your testimony also is that Brandon carried it out there and put it in the ditch. Is that
No,
right?
it's on wheels. It has a handle. It was down a hill into a gully. You can see on the picture that generator has wheels and has a handle.
And there would have been, of course, because that generator weighs 151 pounds, according to Harbor Freight, correct?
Right. I don't know how much it weighs, but yeah.
And there would have been obviously a track leading out to the gully. Did you find that track?
I have dirt and pine needles around my house.
Okay.
I didn't look for a track. And for all I know, all I recall, it was rainy. I don't even recall the type of weather during that time whatsoever.
You certainly testified earlier that you got home and there was about 45 minutes of daylight, so you walked your property, right?
I walked around my house, sir. My property, as I said before, is 3.5 acres, and around that 3.5 acres is a huge forest.
Well, that brings up a good point. Now, Mr. McComb was doing the bulk of the work inside your residence, right?
No, it was half and half.
The shower was inside the residence, right?
Right. However, there was very little work done that day.
Okay. There's no dispute that he was there that day, correct?
Right. That is
And he had unfettered access to the entirety of the house that day, correct?
correct.
Okay. And it's your testimony that he elected to take 251 pounds of generators that day.
251 pounds. You're saying that's the combined weight of two
I
generators?
am, based on Harbor, and
Yeah.
get into that based on.
Yes. Those are the two things that we're missing.
Okay. Jewelry, you have a gold, any jewelry, phone, anything like that?
Nothing like
So the
that.
most valuable thing that you had then is the $1,300 worth of Harbor Freight generators for him to take?
Well, as I said, sir, it turns out, or at least it appears, at least certainly with the one generator I found, that the motivation was not financial. It was merely trying to vindictively affect me. I mean, he messed with my propane lines. He was really just trying to harm me.
Obviously, he was upset because he wasn't paid for his work.
Well, he was paid for his work. He wasn't paid. The check I canceled was a prepayment for work for the whole job. He did not finish that job.
You said that you stopped payment on the check that you did because after you wrote him the check, you had no contact with him, right?
After I wrote the check on the 7th, which was a Saturday morning, I returned home in the afternoon. The later afternoon, I found that there was a mess. I tried to call him and text him throughout Saturday early evening. I did not get a call back. I did not get a text back. I went through the same thing from 10 a.m. in the morning throughout the day on Sunday. I did not get any calls back. I did not get any text
Let's go
back.
through those. Sir, so on Saturday, June 7th at 6:59 p.m., Mr. McComb writes, "Thanks, Ben. Hey, just so you know, before I start any other projects next week, I would like to finish what I've been paid for. First, you recall that text message?"
Unless I can actually see that, I'm not going to answer that question because I don't recall that was written on that day.
Okay. You respond back at 10:10 p.m. on June 7th. "I'm not worried about the glass, but the tile you put up all needs to come down. We will talk Monday or Tuesday. I will call." Do you recall sending that text message?
I do.
Okay. And that was on June 7th.
That's right.
Where 4 minutes ago you testified you didn't have any contact with him.
I testified that upon that evening, you have to remember there were also phone calls going back and forth. The texts were part of my attempts to reach him. That particular text that you're reading, I initially called him I left a voicemail about the tile being installed wrong. I was incredibly upset. I reached out to him via text and let him know that I was able to take those tile down. That wasn't my job to do, but I went ahead and did that. If you read
But your
forward,
text message, but your testimony is that you stopped payment on the check because you didn't have contact with him.
I stopped payments, sir, on Sunday evening, I believe.
Then let's go into Sunday. Sunday at 9:27 a.m., you contact him. The cutting of the tile is what's really upsetting. Too many things are not getting done right. At 10:42, you text him again. You, in fact, did talk to him all day on Sunday, didn't you?
I recall sending text and voicemails to him. I don't recall him responding to me.
So going back, though, it wasn't because you didn't have any contact with him that you stopped payment on the check. It's that, what's the reason?
That was my recollection, was that he was not taking any responsibility for the mistake. He was not figuring out how we were going to move forward. And I felt concerned that I had made a gesture of in good faith, paying him up front. And
Now, I want to touch on that point. It's your testimony today that you did not tell the deputy priest at any point that you were to have paid a third of the quoted work and then pay the other 2/3 when the work was done. Is that your testimony?
I don't recall talking to Mr. Priest about the payments at all. I mean, I might have. I don't recall that aspect of things.
And regarding the amounts that you paid him, certainly you want to be able to prove that you paid him these amounts, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you have copies of those 2 checks? That would be incredibly helpful for us to see those.
I don't have copies. No, sir.
Okay. Did you contact your bank?
And it's Chase Bank, so I have to go to my branch in Denver. And they have a copy of the check that was deposited, and the check that I'm assuming there is I don't know if they have a copy of the stop payment check, but they have probably something.
How do you know? You haven't gone there, have you?
No, but I contacted
It's been
customer service.
62 days since this.
No, I just contacted my bank yesterday to verify that a $1,500 check was in fact cashed, and that
A stop payment was put on that, right?
no, there were 2 checks, sir. I think we're having a problem. No, I think it's important that you understand that when I said $1,600, I think perhaps where the confusion is that there were both checks were actually for $1,500. Or what?
There's only one check written, and then
No, there were not. There were 2 checks written. One was cashed, and one had a stop payment.
Okay, and your testimony is that you contacted Chase Bank yesterday, the day before,
Yesterday, sir.
and we're told this hearsay that
Not as
what you
hearsay. I was told by the customer service that
this is hearsay, self-serving hearsay.
I'll sustain that.
Thank you.
okay.
And so the last question I have. It's been 362 days since this happened, since the 7th. And in that 362 days, you've had ample time to get all of these things together. Why wasn't it done prior to yesterday, the day before?
Because I was told that to meet with Mr. Tommy's investigator, and that's the information I was asked to provide.
Judge, I have no further questions.
All right, there are a couple additional questions. What has led you to have had hundreds of contractors on your house?
Having built the house from the ground up,
Is there any dispute with any of those prior contractors?
there have been different types of disputes as far as personally, not court disputes, not civil cases or criminal cases. But there have been disputes with different contractors about how things were done, how much I owed them, et cetera, et cetera.
You mentioned that a few other items were missing or stolen. What were those items?
There was a circular saw. There was a can of paint.
Is the defense intending to put on any evidence? You've been called to testify. Come on up.
Brandon McComb, spelled McComb.
Mr. McComb, where do you live?
West Cliff.
And what do you do?
I'm a contractor. I want to say it was the end of May of 2025 when we had our first conversation on the phone.
How did you?
Mr. Zeppelin called me.
Now, at any point, did you enter into like a service contract with him? Did you memorialize your agreement?
It was just a verbal agreement and a gentleman's handshake. So he was supposed to pay me, when the job was done or near completed, which he did. He wrote me the check on June the 7th.
Let's talk about the check that he wrote on June the 7th. I have what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit A.
That's the check Mr. Zeppelin wrote me on June 7th.
When he wrote you that check on June 7th, was there any other check that accompanied that?
No, sir.
How many checks did he write you?
One. I actually put it in my glove box because it was the weekend. And then I mobile deposited on June the 9th.
Who's your bank?
ENT.
And see if you could find the line where that check was deposited.
Yeah, it was deposited on 6/9.
How does it say how it was deposited?
Yeah, mobile.
Was that money ever unlocked, as you said? Was it ever available to you?
It was made available, I believe, on the 11th, and then it was taken back on the 12th.
You say it was taken back. Why was it taken back?
Because there was a stop payment on the check.
Who put
And
the stop payment?
Mr.
How
Zeppelin,
do you know that?
because that's what the bank said.
Does it say that, in fact, on the statement?
It does. Return item, stop payment, Zeppelin.
Did Mr. Zeppelin ever tell you that he had put a stop payment on the check?
No, sir.
Now, between when that check was written on June 7th and when the stop payment was effectuated on June 12th, did you continue to work for him?
I did.
How many hours do you think you spent between those two dates?
Between the 7th and the 12th?
Yes.
Probably 40 in total.
Now, you've had the opportunity to review text messages that were submitted as evidence in this case, and it was your phone. Did you have consistent contact with him between the 7th and the 12th?
I did. Yes.
Describe for me what consistent contact would be.
There was some phone conversations and there were some text messages back and forth.
Every day?
Pretty much every day. Yes, sir. Yeah, I believe so.
When did you learn that there was a stop payment on the check?
When I was actually at his home on June the 12th, I was grouting the ceiling when I got informed from my bank.
How did you get informed?
They called me to let me know.
And at that point, what did you do?
I attempted to call Mr. Zeppelin. He didn't answer. I continued working, hoping that maybe there was, a mistake. I didn't think it was done deliberately at that time, but it wasn't until he wasn't answering the phone and was not responding to any of my text messages that I started to realize that he deliberately did do the stop payment and he did not tell me. And the whole time I'm over there working at his house.
After you found out that the stop payment was placed, you make a number of calls. Describe for me your mood. How'd you feel?
After or before? I mean, at first I wasn't super upset because I know that things happen. Maybe it was an accident. It wasn't until the numerous phone calls that I made to him that I started getting upset because I felt and was starting to feel like the stop payment was done deliberately.
Did he confirm that the stop payment was done deliberately?
He told me he did it.
Okay.
But he didn't say why, not on the phone.
What did he tell you he would do about the money? Did he?
Oh, he just said I'd get my money. But it just felt like he was trying to find a reason to not pay me because it seemed like every job that I did, he said was either done incorrectly or not the way that he wanted it. And it just like I'd do some painting and the following day I'd come and there'd be different color paint on the stuff I had painted the day before that I didn't even have that paint color.
So once he confirmed to you that the stop payment was put deliberately, what did you do?
I told him we were done.
What do you mean by that?
I wasn't going to do any more work for him. I was packing up and leaving. He had 30 minutes to get there. Otherwise, I was gone.
Did you want him to come back?
I wanted my money. Yeah, I wanted him to come back and pay me. Maybe we could work it out, but it didn't work out.
How long do you think between when you spoke to him was it before you left?
15 or 20 minutes tops.
Did you clean up any of your work area?
No, I didn't. I packed up my tools. That's it. I didn't clean up anything else. At that point, I was done. What was the point? I'm not getting paid. I've been over here working for free all this time.
Subsequent to June 12th, have you been paid any amount of money, any funds for your work at all?
No.
And how long do you think you spent at his residence working on his house total? Not just between the 8th and the 12th, but total.
Oh, probably about 70 hours.
How much compensation have you received for that?
No, he gave me a lawnmower.
Now,
It didn't work.
you were sitting here when the council went through the text messages. What did you mean by the text message regarding a scavenger hunt? Tell me what that was.
I was implying, which my words were misconstrued, obviously, that I was going to have to hunt him down for my money. That's what I was implying. Maybe I chose the wrong choice of words at the time, but, I was upset.
Did you move any of his belongings, hide any of his belongings?
No, sir.
Okay.
No.
Did you take any of his
No, sir.
property, anything
No.
like that?
No.
Did you manipulate propane lines? Did you take saws, any tools?
No.
Now, when you were there, did you use the generators?
I used one generator, yes.
Which generator?
That would have been the smaller generator. He had a larger generator on the backside of the house that he told me from the very beginning did not work. He said the generator doesn't work. It doesn't stay running. It's really hard to start. The thing was old, crusty, and rusty. And it sat out back. It was uncovered, sitting out in the elements.
And so what did you use the smaller generator for?
For my tile saw, that's it.
When you say a small generator, I'm assuming you mean relative to the other one. How big are these two generators?
They're pretty decent size.
Easily moved?
I would say the smaller one could potentially easily be moved, yes, but definitely not the bigger one. And it didn't have wheels either. It was sitting on blocks in the backyard at the back door, as a matter of fact. Yeah, right by the back door.
Okay.
It was sitting on two flat cinder blocks.
The picture that we saw that is from Harbor Freight.
No,
That's not the same.
no, sir. No, it doesn't even look the same. It was a Harbor Freight generator. They're both Harbor Freight, but that larger generator was a much older generator. It definitely was not anything new by any means.
I want to go back and just ask a couple more questions about the notion that there were two checks. Is it possible that he paid you another check prior to that date?
No,
Okay.
no.
Have you reviewed your bank statement?
Yes.
What is your understanding of how you could even cash a check at Chase Bank?
I'd have to go to their branch.
Are there any Chase Bank branches in Westcliff?
No.
Your understanding is you would have had to travel to Colorado Springs to cash that check.
Yes.
The check that you did receive, you didn't even go to your own bank. You deposited that. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, because just to get to my bank, it's a 2-hour drive from Westcliff round trip. Yes.
Is it your standard practice then to mobile deposit things?
Yes, it is.
Just I have no further questions.
Cross-examination for this witness.
On June 12th, with all the text messages, you said you were y'all talking by phone?
What?
I mean, actually having phone conversations.
No, there wasn't really many phone conversations on June the 12th. There was some text messages, and it wasn't until the afternoon of the 12th. I want to say it was probably around 1:30, maybe 2 p.m. that Mr. Zeppelin answered the phone finally, and we had some words. He said that he did the stop.
I'm going to object to the hearsay, but so y'all did talk. Well,
We had some words, yes. Yeah. He did the stop payment on my check. You know what? I told him, I said, we're done. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you and take your house, Ben. That's what I'm going to do because of what you've done to me. And that's it. So there'll be no more communication until I get my money. Hung up the phone, never spoke to him again. I never answered for him. I never called him back. I never texted him. I was just, at that point, I was done, sir.
so the text message, "Till I get my money," is going to be a scavenger hunt for you. That was done just before the last phone call, or did that come after the last phone call?
That was before the last phone call because he wasn't answering the phone. And I did not say it.
Thank you, Mr. Combs.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello again. Come on back up and I will swear you in again.
Do you recall speaking with Mr. Zeppelin on the 21st of June? Is that when you spoke to him?
Yes.
Okay. At that time, did he let you know that he had purchased a new generator?
I don't recall him telling me that he purchased a new generator at that time.
At any point, did he tell you any other value of the generators other than what he initially told you?
No.
At any point, did he tell you that propane lines were messed with?
He did tell me that propane lines were messed with, but we had a conversation about how the ability to prove that that was intentionally done would be hard to prove at that point. So we did not discuss that part any further.
Did you actually get to see the propane lines?
I did not.
Did he discuss with you writing a check? Obviously, that's what the catalyst was here, right? At any point, did he tell you that he had written 2 checks?
No, he told me he only wrote a third of 3 installments, I guess, for the total payment. He had written one of them and then had rescinded that one.
I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
No question, Judge.
All right. You're free to go. Have a good day. All right. So let's talk about jury instructions.
We have a situation where there's a conflict in a contractor situation and payments are not made, payments are stopped, there's arguments back and forth. All of a sudden you get the text messages and generators are gone. There's circumstantial evidence there. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to go back and talk about it. And when you do, I ask you to find Mr. McComb guilty of that. Thank you.
Let's start with Mr. Zeppelin and look at what he testified to and whether or not you find it credible. This is the first day that there has ever been an explanation that there were 2 checks written. Why? Well, because if he doesn't pay them, he could be liable for not paying. So why are the 2 checks such a big issue? And why do we keep going in that direction? Well, because it goes to his exact credibility for everything that he testified to, for the generators. The fact that he uncovers 9 months later a generator in a ditch, it took them a bobcat to get out of the ditch. And my client did that in less than 30 minutes after he gets this news. Sure, Mr. McComb's mad. He spent 70 hours working and finds out that the guy put a stop pay on his first 1/3 payment. He's not going to get paid. He received $0 and got charged with theft. Why? Because that investigation, excuse my language, crap. And the deputy basically said the same thing. He didn't interview anyone. He didn't even go to the house. Spoke over the phone once, spoke in person once, got a search warrant or an arrest warrant. And that was that. Took Mr. Zeppelin's word for it, which clearly that wasn't a smart decision. But his testimony to you was that he stopped payment on the check because Mr. McComb wasn't responding to him for 3 days. Evidence shows you something else. I submit to you that this case has not been proven by really any legal standard, let alone beyond a reasonable doubt. Have these allegations been proven by the highest burden in the law? Is Mr. Zeppelin's testimony credible enough to overcome that burden? Certainly not. Certainly not.
You may go with Mr. Jacobs to deliberate on a verdict. I'm told that we have a verdict. And juror number 2, Mr. Sines, it looks like you were the foreperson. Is that correct? All right. Without telling me your verdict, did you reach a verdict? And was your verdict unanimous? Okay. Can you hand everything to Mr. Jacobs for me, please? If you'll rise and face the jury, please. All right. People of the state of Colorado versus Brandon McComb, the defendant. We, the jury, find the defendant, Brandon McComb, not guilty of the crime of theft. Is this your verdict? So say you all. Would anyone like the jury poll?
The people do not, Judge.
I'll note that any bond posted in this case is discharged. Any protection order is vacated. And this was a Fremont County Sheriff's Office case. In folder number 8, here is a sealing form. If you could just assist with completing the name and address information, we'll pull the arrest number. This case does not fall under the VRA and shall be sealed.